Hello, this is Sharon Sarago again, and today we're going to talk about coordination and subordination. Whenever we talk about this, it's just about how you join clauses or sentences together, and when you are taking your test, they're going to be testing you about how you join those and using the correct conjunctions. Now, we've already looked at how you join clauses and sentences together to make compound sentences. So this part of the program isn't so much about the punctuation as it is about the conjunctions that you use. We have three different kinds of conjunctions that we're going to look at, but right now we're going to look just at the coordinate conjunctions. Now, these you already know. There are 7 words, and I think most of you call them fanboys, and they are and, but, or, for, nor, yet, and so. These coordinating conjunctions are used primarily to join sentences or ideas of equal value and to create compound sentences. And again, we have looked at this extensively with our punctuation. But each one of these conjunctions is used for different purposes. So let's look at these examples. I first cleaned my room and then I went to the gym, so that you can see that and indicates addition. I wanted to go to the movies, but I had to stay home, and that but indicates contrast. James can work on his assignment, or he can mow the lawn, and we see that or indicates choice. I went to the store early, for we had no milk, and for indicates cause. She did not want chocolate, nor did she want strawberry, and we see that nor indicates addition. So I don't think it's going to be necessary for you to memorize what all these mean, because I think you pretty much know that from your experience with the language. But I do want you to know that they're going to test you over which conjunction you use. So you will have to look at sentences very carefully and be aware that they're going to switch those conjunctions on you. And here are the last two. He needed to get the job done, yet he lacked the motivation, yet indicates exception. And she wasn't feeling well, so she left the party early. And so, again, indicates cause, just like or does, and for. Now, when you're tested on this concept, you have to be sure to use the correct conjunction to fit the meaning of the sentence. Here's your example. Johnny wanted to play football next weekend, and he has a broken ankle. This makes no sense. This conjunction and is incorrect. It would be better to say, excuse me, the conjunction and doesn't fit, and a better choice would be to say but. And then we would have Johnny wanted to play football next weekend, but he has a broken ankle. Then we have another kind of conjunction. These are called subordinate conjunctions. If we want to make a complex sentence, then we have to use one of these subordinate conjunctions. That's what they do, is to join two clauses together. And one of them will be an independent clause, otherwise known as a complete sentence, and the other one will be a dependent clause, and we call those subordinate clauses. To join these two clauses, we use subordinate conjunctions, and I have a list of several of them here for you. And you can see they're very common words. They show relationships of time, cause and effect, opposition, condition. And here's an example. After we had eaten our meal, we watched television. Here's your subordinate clause. It introduces the sentence. It's called an adverb clause, and it begins with one of these subordinate conjunctions. Here's another one. Because he had not cleaned his room, Kelly was not able to join us. This is your subordinate clause. It also is an adverb clause. It introduces the sentence, and it begins with the conjunction because. So I'd like to say this to you. Those of you who have heard throughout your years in school that you can't start sentences with because, it just simply is not true. Here is a great sentence that starts with the word because. I have always been confused about why teachers would tell kids that. The only thing I can come up with is that if you are being asked an essay question, then perhaps if you just give this much of it, well, whoops, here we go. If you just say, because he had not cleaned his room, well, yes, that's a fragment. And perhaps that's why teachers have said don't start sentences with because. But kids have listened to that and they have thought, oh, well, I can never start a sentence with because. That's not true. Here you can start your adverb clause with because. You just have to understand that part of it is a subordinate clause. It cannot stand alone, and therefore you have to have the other sentence to go with it. Here's another example. Marion was conscientious about her homework so that she could get a high GPA. Here we have the clause, the subordinate clause, at the end of the sentence. Notice that if you begin a sentence with a subordinate clause, you have to have a comma after it. All of these adverb clauses must have commas after them. So now we're going to practice, and you're going to look at the sentences, provide a conjunction which will make sense, and I've given you a lot of conjunctions here. So there's not just one answer to these. You could put several different conjunctions there. So when you check your answers, if you did not get what I've suggested there and you're not sure of it, then mark it and then we can talk about it when we meet. When you stop to think logically about which conjunction you should use in a sentence, the problem isn't difficult. This type of error rarely occurs in your writing. However, when you see a sentence or a question that uses the wrong conjunction, you have to be very careful because it's so easy to overlook the conjunction and face on the rest of the sentence. There's never a time in our school where we test kids over which conjunction to use. But the College Board is going to do that basically because they like to test you over proofreading and see how careful you can be. And then we have another kind. And this one appears often on the SAT and the PSAT. This is going to be a correlative conjunction. Now, correlative conjunctions consist of more than one word. They're pairs of words, and they're used together to link parts of the sentence. Here they are. Neither goes with nor, either goes with or, as goes with as. This is a very critical one. Not only goes with but also. You cannot say not only and then and. You really shouldn't say not only and just but. It needs to be not only but also. This is a strange one that shows up from time to time. Just as, so too. Both has to have an and with it. You really need to learn those. The test makers will mix these up, or they'll leave part of one off when they make their questions. So you might find a sentence that has a conjunction neither, and it's used with or instead of nor. You have to look for that because your brain is going to fill in the answer real quickly because it knows what it should be, but you're not being evaluated on what it should be. You're evaluated on what's sitting there in front of you. So you have to be really careful. Then you might see a sentence that uses part of the conjunction, not only, but uses only one word, like but, and not the word also. It's 4 words, not only, but also. In order to be correct, all 4 words are necessary. So here's some examples of problem sentences. We tried to explain that we wanted neither the carpet or the drapes in the house. Well, neither goes with nor, and either goes with or. But up here we've got neither stuck with or, and it's wrong. It should be neither nor. We tried to explain that we wanted neither the carpet nor the drapes in the house. Here's another one. Not only was the girl loud and boisterous, she was also openly rude. We've left off the but. If you've got not only, you need to have but also. Not only was the girl loud and boisterous, but she was also openly rude. Here's the just as so too one. Just as Carl made an A in his chemistry, he also made an A in biology. That's not right. It's just as and so too. So we would say, just as Carl made an A in chemistry, so too did he make an A in biology. Now, excuse my coughing. You do not hear this a lot in your spoken language, but it's correct, and the College Board likes to use it because they're trying to find out who really knows. You have to be alert to find these errors. Most kids just skip right over them. All right, so now we're going to have some practice for this. And what you're going to do is look at the sentence and determine whether it's correct or incorrect. And just for yourselves, if it's incorrect, you probably should write down how to fix it. 2 pages of this. And then we have our passage-based testing. Again, this is all about proofreading. So go very, very carefully through the passages and see what you've got there. So up here on the answer choices, you see where it says suggested answer. If you're not sure that what you've got is going to work, then mark it and then we'll talk about it. Okay, so that's coordination and subordination. It's a very small little section, and then these are small little words, but they're very, very important on that test. So take your time. This is a proofreading test. This is not rocket science here, and I will talk to you later.